We have a beautiful loaf of Prosphoro here, and it's such a fun and cool way for us to participate in our faith, make an offering to God. But as we're doing that, it's good for us to really know what it means. And we have this seal on the Prosphoro that is very instructive. It teaches us a lot about our faith and about the Eucharist. And so I just want to go over what we see when we look at the seal on the Prosphoro. If you look at the center of the seal, right here, this is the portion that's called the amno, or the lamb. This is the part that the priest cuts out and puts on the paten to be consecrated in the Eucharist, the body and blood of Christ. And there are some Greek letters here. Here we have iota and sigma, the first and the last letters in the Greek word for Jesus, Jesus. Here we have he and sigma, the first and last letters in the Greek word for Christ, Christos, Jesus Christ. And under here we have the word Nika, which means conquers. Jesus Christ conquers. This, of course, refers to Jesus' resurrection as he conquered death and sin by rising from the dead. We also have this section right here. There's this little triangle here that represents the Theotokos, or the Virgin Mary. That is also cut out and put on the paten right next to Christ, right next to the Lamb. And we have the lance and the sponge, which remind us that Jesus was pierced with a lance and drank vinegar from a sponge when he was crucified. And then over here we have all these little triangles. And those there represent the ranks of the angels and the saints. We have a little triangle for the angels. We have a little triangle for the prophets. We have a little triangle for the apostles. We have a little triangle for the hierarchs, for the martyrs, for the ascetics, for the mercenaries, so on and so forth. So on the paten we have Christ represented in the amno. We have the Virgin Mary represented. We have all the saints represented. But then we also commemorate the living and the dead. So when you at home send names to be commemorated in the liturgy, you write them on a piece of paper or enter them in on our Offer Prayers page on our website. The priest then takes those names during the liturgy and commemorates those people. And for each person who's commemorated, he takes a piece of the Prosphoro from the other side of the bread and places it on the paten. So when the Eucharist is consecrated, the whole church is represented there. The saints, the angels, the Theotokos, the living members of the congregation, the deceased who are lovingly remembered, the church victorious and the church militant, all gathered around Christ as he is consecrated in the Eucharist. So it's a really, really cool thing that we see when we look at the seal that is placed on the Prosphoro.